Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By, and we have a great show for you today. But let me just give you some information. If you want to find out more about us, go to www.thedrpatshow.com or simply go to drpatlive.com and sign up for a newsletter. We've got a lot of exciting things we're sharing with everybody, and we have lots planned for you in the future. Definitely have some incredible shows and new events for all of the listeners to participate in. So we're planning an awesome fall for everyone so that we can fall ahead. Joining me here today is somebody that knows a lot about breaking through and about moving ahead. Dr. Friedemann Schaub is my very special guest today, and we're taking on a topic that, is quite controversial in a lot of ways, but is so very important. Dr. Schaub is the founder of Cellular Wisdom, a personal breakthrough and empowerment program. He's been practicing and researching as a physician and a molecular biologist for over 20 years or close to 20 years. But what he has found is that the mind-body-spirit connection is one of the most powerful resources for healing and change. He has created a personal breakthrough through an empowerment program that accelerates how we can truly get to this place of our authentic selves and experience exquisite success. Whether it's neuro-linguistic programming, energy psychology, medical hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, you name it, this is in his toolkit. And so he is someone that has been a regular on the show and has made it very clear from the beginning that all of you out there that have something that you want to break through, something that you want to achieve, you can connect with him. He will provide you with a free telephone consultation and get you started. And we'll give out lots of information about that. But today we're taking on the topic, men and feelings. Yes. So we're going to be talking about men and feelings, why this is an important conversation, and what is the truth and what are some of the myths around this. And so here we are talking about this with Dr. Friedemann Schaub, and more importantly, what are the upsides of men and feelings, and we'll find out what that means. And then what are some of the challenges? Dr. Friedemann, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and I just have to ask Benny and Valerie to turn the mic somehow differently because I can hear them, and so I hear all these voices. And usually I don't hear voices, so I was just wondering if they can turn it off.
Okay. I hope they were talking about something interesting, unless they're still arguing about the Emmys. So,
all right.
Is it any better?
No, it's exactly the same. I hear every word.
Okay, so let me see if I can get their attention. So, Mr. Benny, I don't know if you can hear this or not, but Dr. Friedemann says he is eavesdropping on your conversation. So, hopefully we'll make an adjustment in a few minutes. I have a feeling that they have their mics open. Oh, gosh. So one of the things that I think we all grow up with here, Dr. Friedemann, is this idea that women are emotional, men are not. Men are, conditioned to not show emotion, and a lot of times women are conditioned to become emotional, and at some point in time, those stereotypes change and not change. But, I'm interested about the culture that you grew up in and what it was like for you to grow up as, this young man in the culture that you grew up in.
Well, I think in general, before we start the conversation, I want to really emphasize that I don't like generalizations and I don't like stereotypes. So It really was for me kind of a little challenge to say, okay, shall I just say man in general or some man? But it doesn't sound as attractive. So, I made a general statement also a little bit to provoke our thinking, because there are certain tendencies that are certainly true when it comes to how men and women deal with feelings differently. But what's not true, and I think that's a stereotype and a generalization that, has been going through the media and has been supported by popular press for a long time, is that men feel differently as women, that they don't have the same focus or capacity with feelings. And there had been a very interesting study done about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a study that observed men and women that came to outpatient clinics because of depression. And they were asked what they felt the feelings about, the feelings of depression, the feelings of sadness or overwhelm. And the stereotype would be men focus more on, loss of job or, lack in success in the career, and women more on relationships. And the truth in the study was that there was no difference between men and women, that men as much focused on the relationships and, lost love or any kind of those things as a reason for feeling depressed as women did, and also women were focusing on their career as often as man did. So it was very interesting to see, okay, we are not actually, men from Mars and women from Venus. We are all from Earth, and we have similar topics that we are really dealing with. And the difference between men and women, and that's where, the conversation certainly, goes into the tendencies, is how are we told how to deal with emotions. And you were asking if there is a difference between, how I grew up in Germany and how, I see people growing up here in the U.S. And in general, I would say overall, no. There are certainly similar imprints and programming about, you as a boy need to be strong, and you as a kid, as a boy shouldn't cry, and all these kind of things that, you see also here, in this country. The difference, there are two differences that were striking to me and that I find very interesting. One difference is that the competitiveness as a child is not as great as I remember. And this may also be, generational, because I grew up like in the 60s and 70s. The competition were not as great in my school and my growing up. Then I find it, looking at the kids and teenagers here, which are already very, very early on under a lot of pressure. And the second is that the divide between men and women isn't as emphasized as it is here. So, it's very common and very normal as a man, whether you're married in a relationship or not, to have female friends. And that's something that's here almost like a no-no. I mean, when you are, when you're married or when you're in a significant relationship, having a female friend is often frowned upon, or, then, it's talked about, well, can you really trust that? And again, this is more a generalization, but you come across it quite often, and that divide certainly doesn't exist to that extent there.
I think this is a really good conversation because we have some rules around, we do, societal rules, don't you think, about what's expected of men and what's expected of women. But, this show today is really to take a look at, what some of the myths are and what some of the truths are around men. And I love what you said, about we're not from Mars and we're not from Venus. We're all from this planet, so to speak. But, the whole men are from Mars and women are from Venus give us another excuse not to deal with what our potential is, don't you think?
Absolutely. Well, and I think it compartmentalizes and divides, us, and, doesn't really create so many bridges. I think it's intended to gain a deeper understanding from each other, but it's certainly, like you said, also an excuse to say, well, I'm a man, and this is how I am. And that's, one of the myths I want to debunk, because I think we are primarily human beings, and when you watch, us as children or as babies, there is actually not such a big difference. I read actually recently that there is, apparently data that says that male babies cry twice as much as girls. And so, apparently at that time there is no qualms about expressing emotions.
Well, and I love that. That's interesting. There's also something else that I want to ask you about, and that is, our life journey.
Right.
When I was in the corporate world, they made us all take these personality tests, and I will say that for the first part, up until I was about 35, I scored very much on how should I say it? The less emotional sides of things,
mm-hmm.
The less intuitive sides of things. And then, I don't know, something snapped, and all of a sudden, I'm an INTF. I'm all this feeling person.
Right.
So even people that have known me for this long, they look at our lives at certain points in certain situations, and they see us as something, and yet, from a woman's point of view, we get to be a number of different things. Is that the same for men, or are men really conditioned to be a certain way most of the time?
Well, I think the important point here is that we actually can change in this regard. You cannot necessarily change your intellect, but you can change your emotional intelligence, and you can change your ways of dealing and accessing your emotions. So I think that the conditioning among men has been much stronger in this regard because, and it's certainly also something that goes way back, but the role of the man as the one who needs to be in control, the protector, the one who is the breadwinner, all those kind of roles, they have been with us since centuries or millenniums. And so there is certainly something that comes with that role that interprets then emotions as weakness, interprets emotions as, unproductive, irrational. Actually, when you are feeling too many emotions, you will become distracted and out of control. So that's something that has been, dragged through history for, a long, long time. And, what's important to understand that there is something about that role that makes men believe, and that's, then passed on to the children and to the children's children, that there are certain ways that emotions need to be dealt with. Whereas women are having, and this is again a stereotype, but in general there is a greater freedom to learn what emotions are about, to express emotions, and to look at emotion from different angles. And
well, let's talk about that when we come back from break, because there's the question of how do we deal with our feelings, and how do men deal with their feelings, and is there really a problem with the way we're socialized, and where is the freedom for men in this conversation? Well, that's why we have Dr. Friedemann Schaub joining us here today, and we're taking on men and feelings. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show.
Remember, for our dogs and cats to live long and happy lives, just like people, they are what they eat. Wellness carefully selects wholesome ingredients to create food you can trust to provide the foundation of your pet's well-being. True wellness means every ingredient has a purpose in every recipe they make. You can trust the quality of all ingredients in wellness from their source to your pet's bowl. Visit wellnesspetfood.com to find a pet specialty retailer near you. Wellness natural food for pets. This is where true wellness begins.
The search is over. The Dr. Pat Show, talk radio to thrive by, is your connection to tens of thousands of people waiting to hear your empowering message, waiting to choose your product or service. Dr. Pat's goal is to connect you with the people that want high-quality products and services created with love for humanity and the earth. Products and services like yours. Be the business that joins the buzz. The Dr. Pat Show buzz. The buzz of talk radio to thrive by. Connect with people that value conscious living and mindful thinking. Living life full out. Have your business be identified with this powerful and inspiring show. Join the buzz. Be the buzz. Let the Dr. Pat Show, talk radio to thrive by. Be the conduit to those who would benefit most from your services. To sponsor the Dr. Pat Show, call Dr. Pat at 206-523-5522. That's 206-523-5522. Let our success be your success.
Reservage Organics offers you the most advanced anti-aging product available. Our organic-based resveratrol formula, brought to you from the heart of our exclusive vineyards in southern France, has been clinically proven to reactivate your longevity gene and help preserve your youth. By including Reservage resveratrol in your daily regimen, you can enhance cardiovascular function, metabolism, mental acuity, and collagen production. If you want to regain your youthful radiance and enhance your longevity, do so with the world's finest resveratrol from Reservage Organics. Why wait? Visit your local retailer and start the anti-aging process today. Reservage Organics, committed to the extension of youth naturally. Available online at reservage.com and at the Vitamin Shop, Vitamin World, and Whole Foods Market. Visit reservage.com and feel vitality today.
Are you feeling stuck? Do you want to be free from fears and doubts and finally feel good about yourself, but you just don't know how to get there? Dr. Schaub's Accelerated Breakthrough Program provides you with the tools and solutions to go beyond your limitations and achieve self-empowered confidence. Call for your free phone consultation at 866-903-MIND. Visit cellularwisdom.com. That's cellularwisdom.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. Dr. Friedemann Schaub is in the house. I wanted to mention to everyone that, as he always does, he is offering all of you listening to the show a free telephone consultation. It's really easy for you to do. You call his toll-free number, 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-6463. And he will spend time with you to find out how he can help you break through to achieve the goals and the results that you want in life. And he is a master at it. And so today we're taking on the conversation of men and feelings. Now, for the most of you out there that want to find out more about Friedemann and his work, you can also go to cellularwisdom.com. cellularwisdom.com. He also has a 2-part teleseminar coming up in October on the healing power of fear and anxiety, how to break through emotional blocks and tap into your true potential. Again, the website is cellularwisdom.com, and you can always give him a call, 866-903-MIND, M-I-N-D, or 6463. Dr. Friedemann, thank you for joining us here today. We are talking about men and feelings, and I think there's a lot that's been written to contribute to the confusion about this.
Right.
But there's also much that you want to talk about to clarify, why men have trouble with feelings, and then how do they deal with them, and is that different than women?
Well, and I think, one of the major, and that's kind of, interesting because it's a feeling, but one of the major stumbling blocks, and I work with a lot of men that come to me to really overcome that, is actually the fear of expressing feelings, because there is a fear of failure, making something, or do something wrong, or the fear of when you express your feelings that you are actually losing control, or that you are need this guardedness that, a lot of men are carrying around to portray a certain persona or a certain role. When you let go of this guardedness, you are more vulnerable and potentially, can easier get hurt or, get into difficult situations. So the fear is, on the one hand, a driving force to not express feelings or not deal with feelings in a very skillful way. And at the same time, many men are suffering under this fear. So it's kind of, basically a catch-22. And the only way to really, win this inner battle is to learn how to actually deal with emotions in the first place. So what I noticed by working since a long time with men on this issue is that there are different levels that, like different strategies men are dealing with emotions, especially emotions that are negative emotions, sadness, anxiety, shame, guilt, insecurity, anger. And so the first level is that the emotion is certainly, still recognized. There's still an awareness of the emotion, but usually it's something that is then interpreted as, okay, what's the problem? So, there is an anxiety. Okay, what do I need to do with this? There is a frustration. Where does it come from? What do I need to, do now to fix the problem? Or, when they're dealing with somebody else's, like the emotions of a spouse, the same questions are raised, which is a common complaint of women about their husbands, that they are trying to fix and that they are trying to find a solution, but all the women in this regard want is just somebody to listen and somebody to actually be compassionate with them. So men try to fix and try to find a solution, try to find something that they can do to deal with the feeling, and they see the feeling as a signal, which actually it's not a very wrong approach. The problem with this is that they are looking usually on the outside, something that on the outside needs to change to make them feel better or for this feeling to go away. Now, the level 2 then of dealing with emotions is that often there cannot be anything fixed. They are stuck in a job, or they don't get the promotion, or they feel that the wife doesn't understand them. And so the feelings then often get suppressed, and they often get simply compartmentalized, put into a little black bag somewhere and are not looked at. And, one example that was really striking me recently is a relative of us who has a wife who is really, really now dealing with a very terrible neurological disease, which makes her not be able to move anymore. So she's losing functions. She barely can hold a fork. She cannot walk anymore, and she loses also the ability to speak. But he is, as her husband, not really dealing with the emotional impact it has, because it would be too overwhelming with him. He doesn't share with anybody what he's feeling. He simply shoves it aside and just plows through this enormous challenge that both of them are facing right now. And he's dealing since the time of the beginning of the illness with severe heart problems, arrhythmia of the heart. And so he's fixing the arrhythmia of the heart, not really looking at this as, well, is this possible that all the stress and all the grief and all these emotions that he's not being aware of, that they are actually now firing back at his heart? Is this possible that the arrhythmia has something to do with that? But again, that's the level that he is right now able to deal with it. He puts it into compartment and he denies himself to feel those feelings. And that's, another common level of that. And the third level is then when you can no longer deny the feelings, when they are so big and so overwhelming that they're just right in your face, you still try to internalize them, and you still try to, when you notice them, you cannot, be not aware anymore of the grief or the anxiety or so, but you're still internalizing them, try to deal with it yourself. You talk with it yourself, you try to coach yourself through it, which usually, doesn't release them. It just puts a little lid on them, but it doesn't really get anywhere. And then, of course, the fourth level is then to either medicate yourself, to express these feelings in ways that seem appropriate, which is usually where the anger comes out, where people are becoming then so overwhelmed with these bottled up emotions that they have to, just express them with anger, with yelling, with somehow feeling that frustration gives them a sense of power and control. And that's where, that spirals completely out of control, because at the end of it, people that are only knowing how to deal with emotions this way are isolating themselves more and become more in a trap where, obviously they need help to get out of.
That's really interesting, because I'm sitting here thinking, and I just did a show with Dr. Wayne Anderson, and, he is the author of Habits of Health. Mm-hmm. And, he's looking at, he calls it obesogenic, situation we have in this country in particular. And, and we didn't get to really talk about this, but when we think about ways out of dealing with emotions, clearly food comes up for women. Now, my question is that true for men? I mean, and I think there are more and more studies now, and it's referred to as comfort food. Have you ever heard that expression? Comfort food used to mean sitting down and having a cookie. Now comfort food is sitting down and having 3 pizzas at one sitting. So what is the relationship to this? I mean, is, food now the new alcohol, so to speak?
Well, I think absolutely, and especially the more, alcohol gets into this, realm of, well, this is not healthy, you shouldn't do it. I think food is still in a lot of ways more acceptable. And, but, I think there is still the tendency for men more to deal with anger through, the direct medication with alcohol or anti-anxiety medication or these kind of things. Mm-hmm. And I think women are, because they are also just, more, again, the stereotype of being at home, that there is certainly more food available. And, and then, that comes also the other level of dealing with emotions with men, which is different to women. I think men have often, the wake-up call of the emotional charge when there is a real big symptom hitting them. So, I see most of the men that come to me are having a wake-up call, whether they had panic attacks for the first time in their life, or they had chronic pain that doesn't go away, or they have heart problems, or something external, where, the wife is leaving, or, they lost their job. Any kind of those things makes them really wake up. And what it tells you is that, it has to really go to that extreme level often for a man to really do something about it. And in the meantime, they're actually, living their life fairly successful.
Well, let's talk about this when we come back, because, this is really, I think, a conversation that I can relate to, especially around my dad. So what are the ramifications of not feeling? What does it show up as? Dr. Friedemann Schaub joining us here today. Go to cellularwisdom.com. Today's topic, men and feelings. And if you have a question or comment, give us a call, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back with the show.
Hi, I'm Don Brecky. I chose 2 years ago to get on the Take Shape for Life program. I've lost 30 pounds and kept it off over 2 years. I have more energy. I get out of bed without backaches. It's been a life changer.
Hi, I'm Dale Gardner. With the Take Shape for Life program, me and my wife lost 90 pounds together, and that was 2 years ago, and we feel great.
Get healthy with the Take Shape for Life program. Get clinically tested products from Medifast and support from a free certified health coach. Visit simpletolose.com to learn more. Results will vary. Consult a physician before beginning weight loss program. Call or go online for complete program and discount details.
Ladies, are you living an inspired life? Do you yearn for a more passionate, dream-filled life? Here's Linda Joy, founder of Aspire Magazine, and she has a gift for you.
Aspire has launched its Mission to Inspire initiative with a commitment to give away 100,000 one-year digital subscriptions to women around the globe. Every subscription comes with a multitude of free gifts from our Teen Inspiration partners.
To claim it all, go to aspiremag.net today. No purchase necessary. And live an inspired life.
Ugh, aren't you tired of the same old negative vibe? Hey, Valerie, have you heard about TransformationTalkRadio.com?
No, what's that?
Dr. Pat is launching a new network. And
Dr. Pat?
Dr. Pat.
How many hours is she going to be on?
It won't be all Dr. Pat. She'll be joined by her friends. Transformative hosts from around the globe. TransformationTalkRadio.com is a 24/7 network.
24 hours of Dr. Pat and her guests?
No, 24 hours of Dr. Pat and her hosts.
Oh, very good. When does this start?
This starts in August.
Oh, my gosh, I'm so excited. Where's it going to be broadcast?
You're going to be able to hear her in Seattle, Boston, Connecticut, New York, Rhode Island, on over 300 cable radio stations, and on the internet everywhere. Listen live at transformationtalkradio.com.
Great! We should spread the word.
Absolutely. Spread the word. Go to transformationtalkradio.com.
Reclaiming your fearless nature with Annette Bingham is about giving you the encouragement and tools to explore who you truly are and then to fearlessly move towards reclaiming it. This program will empower you to become proactive in your own journey to power. On the show, we will be exploring any tool that will help you take back control of your wellness. Topics might include all types of energy work, vibrational healing techniques, connecting with nature, body work, and much more. Tune in each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to reclaim your fearless nature with Annette Bingham. That's Tuesday at 5 p.m. right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
I just want someone to save me.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. Wow, Dr. Friedemann Schaub is joining us here today. Hey, we're taking your comments and questions. If you'd like to chime in, if you'd like to ask Dr. Friedemann Schaub a question, those of you out there, those of you men and women out there that want to comment on this, and especially about what you can do about it, please feel free to give us a call. 1-800-930-2819. That's our toll-free number. 1-800-930-2819. We'd love to hear from you. To find out more about Dr. Schaub, go to his website, cellularwisdom.com, or give him a call at 866-903-MIND, M-I-N-D, 866-903-6463. And so today we're talking about men and feelings. I mean, Dr. Friedemann, thank you for joining us here today. I mean, I think this is really an important conversation because if we don't deal with our feelings, there are serious ramifications. And you alluded to that before we went to break. But what are we talking about for men?
Well, I mean, there are the direct ramifications for, men in terms of their health. I mean, we all are aware of the fact that stress-related illnesses are the number one cause of death in this country and also in most other industrialized countries and among men. And, stress-related illnesses are, high blood pressure, stroke, heart disease, all these kind of things. And I think there are more and more studies that also show that stress has an impact on the immune system and therefore also an impact on illnesses like cancer, autoimmune diseases, etc. So there's the direct impact on if you are bottling up your emotions, it will backfire, on your health. And that's certainly something that a lot of people, would say, well, this is for me the wake-up call. And as I said before, these are usually the moments where men say, okay, I need to do something about this. But then there are these other things that are more subtle, but I think nevertheless extremely important, which are the quality of life. And I think one of the things that's always a little bit underplayed or overlooked when it comes to feelings is that the value of our experience in life is really largely dependent on what we feel. So when you don't feel anything, your life really has no meaning. It doesn't really have any value to it. When you are, thinking back about the highlights in your life, things that are memorable, there was always a feeling connected to it. And when we are denying our feelings, we are pretty much having a numb, blah, blah life that doesn't really have any depth to it. And I think we are wasting our life this way. And another aspect of this is also that we are wasting our potential, because feelings have a lot to do with who we really are, our authentic self, the person that we are meant to be. And if we are, again, avoiding those feelings as an expression of our authentic self, we are not really showing up as ourselves. We are not really showing up as the people that are here to make a difference, or the people that have gifts that they can share. And we are trying to blend in with the masses and all of those who believe we need to do what's expected from us. And we are not really standing out and doing what we are meant to do. because we're not allowing ourselves to be courageous enough to feel. So these are aspects that I find even more important than health, because they really make life either important and valuable or make life pretty much meaningless.
Well, and these are the things that are hardest to express, don't you think? I mean, we're talking about being able to express our feelings. So I have to ask you a question. I mean, if not expressing our emotions has these ramifications, then the question then becomes, and we are socialized in a certain way around feelings. And you and I were talking during one of the breaks where I said to you that, the old stereotype, and I'm like you, I don't like generalizations and I don't like stereotypes. But for conversation purposes, there's a perception that we have about men and women. The latest perception is that women are becoming, and they're not becoming more like men in terms of the way their behavior, but they are learning how to become less emotional, especially in the workplace.
Yeah.
I mean, there's jokes on television. Somebody was telling me on The Apprentice, I mean, my goodness, if you cry, forget it, you're fired. And then shows like The Bachelor, where the guy is crying all the time, and that's looked at in a very interesting way. So we have these views about what's strength and what's weakness. So how do we, given the ramifications of things, how do we begin to address this? How do we figure out who we are and how we are to be with our emotions?
Well, I think, there are a few basic facts that we just have to embrace and learn to accept again and make them as our priorities. And this starts with, teaching our children. This starts with, also the media getting on board with it. And the fact is that it's very healthy and natural to have an emotion. And that emotions are not something that need to be kept in private or something that's, again, expressing weakness, but that emotions are actually something very powerful, a very powerful resource inside, and that they help us to maneuver through life in a much more resourceful way when we are able to listen to these emotions and deal with these emotions in an appropriate way. Denying emotions is really denying yourself an enormous part of your potential. When that gets into our minds, when, we understand that, we are not so powerful because we don't feel. In fact, we are weaker because we are not tapping into this inner guidance system of emotions, then we get actually maybe more into, the mindset, into the motivation. Well, let's utilize these emotions. And, there are wonderful books on emotional intelligence that are underscoring how in the workplace, for example, people that have emotional intelligence, that are able to be compassionate, that sense where other people come from, that are able to utilize their own emotions, are way more successful and excel to much higher levels than the people that had excellent grades in their school and come with, all A's, but don't really have a connection to their heart. So they're sitting in their heads and they're not able to be flexible. So that's the thinking in our society that needs to change, that emotions are not a topic of, this is, something we have to show on TV because it's so special, or something that you have to keep again, for yourself. Emotions are a normal part of life. We have just to learn how to speak the language of emotions more and express them in much more healthy ways. Another, I think, important, basic agreement we have to come to is that emotions really help us to, as I said before, to become our authentic self. And living and expressing your emotions in general take way more courage and way more strength than to hide your emotions and to pretend you don't have one. So, when we look at the action heroes that are out there, in the books and in the movies, they are usually very emotionless. And, and that's what used to be that standard. That's what you admired. And it's really important to, also make clear that this is actually a form of weakness. This is a form of, lack of trust in yourself, of insecurity if you have to hide your emotions behind this tough facade and not be able to really show, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and I'm standing behind it because my emotions, my feelings matter to me. And so, another point I want to make about these basic agreements are really utilizing emotions as an enormous way to get more information about life. And, when you are really having an emotional sensitivity and emotional intelligence, you are able to see things in life that your intellect cannot see, and you're able to find solutions, have clarity, and, again, make connections and maneuver through life in a much more elegant and in a much more successful way. So you only can be successful if you feel your emotions, and you can only be happy if you feel happiness. And if we are really making this as a priority, I think we are on the right way.
Well, we're going to talk about this and emotional intelligence when we come back. It is a new phrase, and I would say it's a relatively new phrase. And, emotional intelligence, what does that mean? What is it about emotions and expressing our feelings? And is there a right way and a not so right way to do it? What's the difference between emotional intelligence and, scoring high on the EQ list versus simply being emotional? Are there differences? What does it mean? And that's why we have Dr. Friedemann Schaub in the house, everybody. Men and Feelings right here on the Dr. Pat Show. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Do you want to increase your prosperity, even in this economy? Now through September 17th, show host Madeline Gerwick is offering selected class CDs for 35% off. Her Prosperity Release CD allows you to release fears related to not having enough money, so money can flow to you more easily. The Paper Piles release will help you let go of old clutter and paper piles that will clear out stuck energy so new opportunities can arrive. Plus, her 2010 Good Timing Guide is available for $9 while supplies last. To order or learn more, go to AskMadeline.com. That's AskMadeline.com. Or call her toll-free at 877-524-8300. That number again is 877-524-8300. These 35% discount specials are good now through September 17th. So order today.
Are you tired of hanging on to things in your life that hold you back? Get ready to reclaim your fearless nature with Annette Bingham. Annette has been a catalyst for helping people achieve maximum results. Known for her breakthrough approaches, she will assist you to unleash your true power. Her unique distance healing techniques have been empowering people globally. Get ready for a life-changing event to step into your fearless nature. For more information, visit AnnetteBingham.com or call 432-770-4062.
Are you taking too many oral pain pills and concerned about side effects? Are you having trouble getting to sleep because of the pain? Well, I'm Lou Paradise. I had the same problems you have. Cured my pain, eliminated pain pills and their side effects by developing Topricin, pain relief and healing cream. Topricin relieves pain without side effects. It doesn't burn, it doesn't smell, and it doesn't stain. But don't just take my word for it. Doctors, pharmacists, and pain specialists are using and recommending Topricin and ending the suffering for thousands of people just like you. We know you're hurt. We want to help. We're so sure Topricin will work for you, we offer a money-back guarantee. So if you want pain relief with no side effects, ask for Topricin or call 1-800-959-1007. That's 1-800-959-1007. Topricin, the last pain medicine you'll ever need, and you can sleep on that.
TransformationTalkRadio.com. TransformationTalkRadio.com. Transforming the world one listener at a time.
Good things to come, and I believe it could be. Something good has begun. Oh, I've been
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. And for more information about us, go to www.drpatlive.com. Dr. Friedemann Schaub is in the house, and it's always enlightening and informative. I think there is so little that we know about emotions and feelings, and I think we're really starting to learn, especially with the creation, Dr. Friedemann, of emotional intelligence. Now the next question then becomes, so on a practical level, what do I do about it? I mean, what are some of the things that I can learn? Is it really okay, as we see in the movies, to take that vase and throw it clear across the room at somebody? So, this is the part of the show that I love doing with you, Dr. Friedemann. It's the part where we now ask the question, okay, what's next? What do I do about it?
Well, and I think when it comes to emotions, I don't necessarily believe there should be any set rules in terms of, well, this is appropriate and this is not appropriate. Well, obviously there are some common sense things, but in general, when it is about emotions in a relationship, it can actually be very helpful sometimes to really express the outburst of anger by throwing a shoe on the ground or, just really letting it out as you feel. Just don't make it a habit, because that doesn't show that you are really in charge of your emotions. It only shows that your emotions are in charge of you. And the goal with any kind of connection to your feelings is that you're utilizing your feelings and not that you are letting your feelings abuse you. And when we are, especially at the beginning, learning to reconnect to our feelings, there is a temptation, of course, to feel like, okay, now I have the freedom to express my feelings, and everything that comes to my mind, I'm just going to let it go and let it out, which, of course, sometimes is hurtful to others. It's not as meaningful because the next, 5 minutes the emotions may change, and you, again, let the emotions ride you versus being the one who is basically, seeing the emotion as a part of you that you want to honor and that you want to respect and that you want to work with, but you still need to be at the center of it. You still need to be the one who says, what is it right now that I'm feeling, and how do I want to respond to this feeling? So, but, it's a language. In a lot of ways, it's getting really a sense for your feelings again. So some of us have to start really at the beginning and just, heighten their awareness of, okay, what do I actually feel? So one of the first things I feel is very important, to have a little inventory. So what are my symptoms in life right now? When I work with people, especially men that are dealing with emotional challenges, I let them look through their life and see the patterns. And there may be patterns of whenever I'm, under pressure, I have physical symptoms such as chronic pain, or I feel always that, I've gastritis or something. That could be a symptom. Or another symptom could be whenever I'm 6 months in a relationship, somehow the relationship all of a sudden ends. I have no idea why, but it just ends. Or whenever I'm in a job and my boss wants me to do extra hours, I quit. I mean, just look at your life and see what you're doing and notice, well, what are probably the emotions that are driving those decisions? What is probably going on underneath all of this? This way you can see what are the big things you haven't really dealt with. What are the big emotional charges that you were not able to get to? This can be fear of intimacy. This can be sadness. This can be frustration. It can be huge insecurity. All these kind of things you want to just from a more, objective perspective, look at like a detective and find out, okay, this is how these events are linked to a feeling. Now, in the next step, you look at your daily feeling. That means do a little, daily acknowledging of what is really going on inside of you. I recommend people to set 4 or 5 different times during the day. For example, a good time is when you wake up in the morning. Another good time is when you are at work. Another good time on the way home. and when you lay in bed at night. So these 4 times, just spend a minute or so checking in with yourself and notice what you're feeling. What are my emotions there? Now, a lot of people at the beginning feel like, there are like 2 or 3 big words that come to mind. I feel stressed, or I feel overwhelmed, or I feel frustrated. And then you have to really ask yourself, well, is that exactly what I feel, or is it more kind of, your own little stereotyping, and you haven't really defined very clearly what it is. So then you get
and don't we also then try to avoid what the real feeling is?
Exactly.
You know what? And I think this is worth talking about, because we come up with feelings that are not necessarily our true feelings. And you were asking me a question about my dad. And you were asking me, well, what do you think your dad was feeling? Well, on the surface, you'd never know he was feeling much. He was always laughing.
Right.
But there was several points in time where you could see the sadness in his eyes. Will he ever say to you that he's sad? Did he ever shed a tear in front of me? Really not.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can look into somebody's eyes and you could see it's sad. So is it harder for men, not necessarily to get in touch with what they really feel, but to admit it?
Well, it's absolutely. I mean, this comes back to what it means when you actually express sadness. It means that you are losing faith. It means that you are, not the strong one or the one who has a reputation. And, in a lot of ways, I think it also means that there is not the trust there for the people around men to deal with the feelings that are coming up. So there's also a fear of, well, if I express the sadness, do people actually know how to handle it or what to do with it? So I rather deal with it myself. Then there are messages of, I don't want to burden somebody else, I have to figure it out on my own. All these kind of things. That's why I think the best thing before you start talking to your friends or your spouse about your feelings, name them yourself. Get a more clear idea. What am I really feeling? Is it sadness or is it disappointment? Is it a sense of hopelessness or is it a sense of just being a little irritated? I mean, just really get clear about it and then ask yourself, what made me feel this? What is the stimulus of this? What got me to feel this? So that you really also connect the feelings to what's internally going on, maybe your self-talk, or what's externally going on. Eventually, when you have this inventory, I think it's crucial to talk about the feelings, and often it's good to talk with your buddies, with men, about feelings. I have countless men that had emotional breakthrough, working with their feelings, working with the subconscious, and they carried it to their friendships, carried it into their circle of, peers, and were able to express their feelings more authentically. And guess what? All of a sudden, the friends felt encouraged to also talk about more, what they're feeling and what's going on. It was amazing how just one person changing the energy changed the entire, relationship, and also changed really in a lot of ways the depth of how they used to relate to each other. I mean, there was I would say a 99% success rate when just one person stood up and said, I want to really share how I'm really doing right now. So there is a desire, a willingness to do that shows me these examples, and somebody just has to be the catalyst for doing it.
Well, I have to tell you, this has been a great show. I hope you and I can do a show about relationships and about, the parts of relationships that we could take this conversation now to the next level of how to be in relationships and really explore the range of both emotion and thinking and so forth. Because I think what you said is so important. What if we could truly go to that place? A friend of mine calls emotions is the final frontier.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. Well, and sometimes these emotions are just, so ethereal or so, overwhelming that we need help. I always feel like, and this is what I love about the work I'm doing, I help people to get really on to the next level, but then they're able to move on by themselves. I don't feel that we have to, have somebody, nudge us or hold our hands for years and years and years. But sometimes we just need somebody who, helps us to break through the blocks, the fears, and the overload of all this, what has piled up inside of us, so that we can find ourselves and be more clear internally again. And that's really something that's very possible and very easy to do with the power of your mind. You just have to know where is the entrance and where is the leverage to really make those changes happening.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Friedemann Schaub. And really the easiest way to do this is to give him a call and really take him up on his offer for a free consultation, 866-903-6463. Thank you, Dr. Friedemann. Thank you so much for a great show today.
Thank you very much, and talk to you next month.
All right, everybody, remember, you get the opportunity to live life full out. We'll see you next time on the Dr. Pat Show.